Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbly Nines video. Today, some interesting news, a little bit more to it than you might think, but Pablo Fornals, it looks like he has had his contract extension put into place, as we can see here on the tweet here, which we saw from ex-WHU employee coming out. So we know it's reliable, saying West Ham have activated the extension clause in Fornals' contract, which means he will be tied to the club for another year. However, it's believed that this has been obviously for the purpose of selling him for a more expensive transfer fee instead of him leaving on a free in the summer because his contract was running out. And it's a shame. It is a shame how this one has ended with 4 hours because you only have to look a couple of years ago. Such a key figure for not just David Moyes but for West Ham. He was really, really influential in both the Premier League and the Europa League campaigns that we had. Again, playing out of position. He's never really been allowed to play in the middle, to play in that kind of number 8 role where his best position is. And it is a shame because when he first arrived at West Ham, the talent was very clear. He arrived pretty young. He'd just come off the back of I think it was the under 23s or under 21s tournament with Spain that he'd won with Ceballos as well. I remember he was another kind of key figure that we were looking at, but he went to Arsenal at the time on loan. So there's definitely a player that just hasn't been allowed to thrive at West Ham. And, again, it's not just how we've played him left wing. His individual performances have been lacking consistency at times, but when you're playing out of position like he has done for so long, and worked so hard for the team, worked so hard for David Moyes, it's a shame because I think he deserved to play more games in the middle. I think this season he's played like 150 minutes in the Premier League, maybe less than that. Most of those being off the bench. So it just looks like he's not there for Moyes anymore. We've had Ward-Prowse come in, obviously Alvarez at DM, Souček's in there in the middle, Paqueta's another one that's come in. We've now got Kudus. Like, there's a lot of different players that have arrived in the last couple of years, which has probably led to Fornals dropping down the pecking order. But again, the talent was there. We know what you're going to get with Fornals. Someone that's going to work very hard, someone that's very technically gifted, not the most pace in the world at all, but his football intelligence makes up for that, and it's why he's such an intelligent footballer because he might not have the pace, but he sees the game a lot better than most footballers, and that's why he's playing in the Premier League, and it's why he was doing very well for West Ham at the time. So it's a shame how it's kind of turned out, but it looks like we've extended his contract, so he can't leave on a free in the summer. There's a small chance he will stay past the summer, but given how it is right now, if you're 4 hours, why would you stay if you're not being played? He's openly said himself he'd love to retire at West Ham. He loves the club, and I genuinely believe he thinks that as well. It's just when you're not playing football, you can't just sit on the bench. It's the same as Cornet, as another example, who's just not being played out on the left wing. And then you look at games like against Crystal Palace, where Ward-Prowse was played left wing for 20 to 30 minutes of that second half. And you've got someone like Fornals who can come on and change a game, or even someone like Cornet as well. He's in the same boat. It makes it very difficult to kind of justify what Moyes has done there. And, when it comes to Fornals, I've always very much enjoyed watching him play. I was last year saying he should be in that midfield team alongside Rice and Paqueta as that midfield three when we had the kind of debate of who should be playing, why the performances have dipped. And I think Fornals is one of those players who can unlock a team. He really can. And we don't have that at the moment. You look at our midfield three of Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, and Souček at the moment. Just no creativity. We said it in our review yesterday that it just lacks that penetration or that player that's going to find those splitting passes or pick up the ball between the lines, find intelligent spaces. When Paqueta's not in there, someone like a Fornals would do that excellently. And we saw in his very brief cameo against Crystal Palace, I think he came on the 89th minute, that he has the ability to do that. And, he was excellent when he came on and he had like 5 minutes to impress. So for me, I would be gutted to see Fornals go. I think there is room for him to be in this squad and potentially get back into that starting 11. It's just going to be very difficult to do that now. Moyes has Ward-Prowse, who's obviously is one of his favourites because of the set piece threat and his leadership qualities that he liked at Southampton. You've then got Souček in there who's playing and he's been scoring a lot of goals. So Moyes is reluctant to take him out, but Arguably, Fornals should be playing, and he should be playing much more minutes in European competitions as well. He hasn't been the best when he's played this year. Absolutely, he should be doing better, but he just looks like a player who's completely shattered of confidence. He hasn't had the minutes. He's not match fit, and that goes for a few players. It's not just him. Ben Rama again is another one who hasn't played that many minutes. He was kind of in and out of the team at the start of the season. Cornet, I mean, don't need to say any more about Cornet. Even someone like Mubama hasn't really had the minutes to impress. And Danny Ings as well, for his critics, he hasn't really had that many minutes, but, he doesn't operate well. But Fornals does operate well. And, for someone that isn't a natural winger, he done very, very well playing left wing for us for so long. And, there were a few occasions where he played in the middle and he was excellent. I remember against Bournemouth last season, when we won 4-0 in the league. He was really, really good when he played in that match. And, he obviously scored that scorpion kick goal, which was probably one of our best goals of the season. So I think that's probably what limited Fornals in his career at West Ham. I mean, it's still not ended, but so far is that lack of consistency and output that you need from a kind of attacking midfielder nowadays. I mean, it's probably not enough to kind of play well and not get the goals and assists, because fans will just get on his back about the statistics and etc etc. And if you're not providing an output in the final third, um, you know you're not going to get the recognition for what you're doing throughout the 90 minutes. And I think that's exactly what Fornals is. He's a player that will contribute really well in the full 90 minutes if he's playing. He will influence the game very intelligently. But when it comes to, his decision making or his final output, that's where he's let himself down. And I think that's probably his biggest frustration, is when he's kind of actually in that final third or in around the box. His finishing isn't great, and his final pass was often lacking. But that being said, it is a shame how it's kind of come out, because yeah, as I mentioned, Fornals was one of my favorite players just 2 years ago. Obviously a fan favorite for so long, and I think he still is pretty highly regarded by a lot of West Ham fans. And we'd love to see him turn it around, but he's 27 now. I think he turns or 27 in February, 28 in February. So he's not that young prospect or exciting Spanish player from La Liga anymore. He's actually been here a while, maybe 4 years now. So it's a shame. I just think Moyes has possibly moved past him. I think the only way Fornals stays past this summer is if Moyes leaves in the summer and the new manager takes a like to him, or if someone like Paqueta leaves the club and we need that extra midfielder to go and play as the 8 and a new manager likes him there. That's the only way I can see it. So let me know what you guys think about Fornals and, how this whole situation has turned out, because it is a shame. And it seems a bit strange how it's all come about. It kind of came out of nothing, where he was playing, he was a regular, and then kind of just got dropped and hasn't really got back in the team since. So it's a shame. I think for Fornals next, from a personal point of view, what he should do is leave. From an unselfish point of view, he should be looking to leave the club, because he's just not getting minutes. And Moyes isn't using him in the right way. He keeps bringing him on left wing. He's not really had a chance to play central and influence a game. And yeah, I just think there's too many bodies in that midfield now for him to kind of get in there. With Souček, Ward-Prowse, Alvarez, even Kudus, Paqueta. There's a lot of players in there that are ahead of him in the pecking order. So yeah, I think for his own sake, he should probably leave, and it's probably what makes sense for the club, why the contract extension has happened. So we get some money out of him. He'll probably go back to the Spanish league, if I'm going to make an early prediction on it, if he was to move this summer. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Fornals. It is a shame, because he has done, served us very well, and he's had some excellent moments at West Ham. And obviously last season, even with his lack of minutes, he was there in the Europa Conference League semi-final to secure the win. That put us through to the final, which we went on to win. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about the whole Fornals situation. Are you disappointed in how it's turned out? Do you think he could potentially still turn it around at West Ham? Because there is still time. Obviously, he's got a year contract extension, which some might suggest that he's not going anywhere. But I read it as X said in his tweet, that it's probably going to be just so we get some money out of the transfer, so he doesn't leave on a free. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about the whole situation. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. subscribe to the YouTube channel as always. And until next time, come on, you irons.